Um, well, the idea of office work is something we think we know an awful lot about. One of the conceptual issues that didn't strike me till we started working on this is that we've never really been able to understand how office work might be separate from an office physical location. And if you think about factory work, it's pretty obvious why you don't think of assembly line work independent from an assembly line in a factory. But there's nothing about office work that says it couldn't physically be done someplace else. So, how much of the way in which work gets done in offices is a function of the fact that we are all sitting near each other and that we largely know each other and that we sometimes are friends with each other or at least kind of acquaintances with each other? How does that change the way office work gets done? And of course, during the pandemic, we ran this massive unprepared for experiment by sending everybody out of the office to see if we could get anything done. And so it's kind of an interesting academic question. And then, of course, it became an incredibly practical question. And I'd like to say we knew that it would be a hot topic again. And that was, I don't think we knew that, but, mainly in the US, the fact that employers decided this last year to start pushing people back to the office made it a very practical topic. It's one that many people feel very passionate about because lots of people have, in the US and the UK, we're the sort of outliers on this in the world, that most countries people have gone back to the office. Ranya can tell you what's happening in Europe and the center of Europe. So that made it a hot topic. And we hadn't really had a chance to condense what have we learned about remote work since the hybrid, where we ran this, again, big experiment. So we'd been studying it in the US anyway since the 1970s, but there the story was you're remote, but your colleagues are in the office. And that's quite a different context from saying, all right, everybody is remote, or now, more typically, everybody is remote for a while, and then you're kind of coming back and forth. So it turns out to be, a practical question that really does matter, and also this conceptual question.
So just picking up, I think you're right. A great unplanned experiment is a pretty fantastic way of looking at it. We didn't know it was going to happen. It did. So actually, there's some things of note here. So yeah, Ranya, anything to add to that?
I think also I just wanted to add to what Peter said is that also he already has a book called The Future of the Office, which he wrote, I think, 2021, which was published in 2021. So the topic was not new. I don't think it didn't just come from nowhere. This is also something that was done, he was working on before, and it's kind of like a continuation from that in a sense.
So it felt like a natural flow. I mean, it's one of these ones that I'm fascinated by, which is just the inherent value of, in some people's minds, I guess they go, God, I've got to go into the office. But actually, there are things about an office that are inherently valuable. And there's probably some things about working at home that give inherent value. So I'm just very intrigued. Maybe not ask the question, but maybe get you talking about maybe what people thought about this before the great experiment,